So you used the phrase earlier, deliberate practice. Do you want to say a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, yes, because it's at the heart of kind of expertise, I think, is that Malcolm Gladwell in his Outliers says nobody gets to the top of anything without 10,000 hours of deliberate practice, which is about 10 years at 3 hours a day, basically. And that seems to hold out for musicians, for sports and things like that. And deliberate practice is where you're setting yourself up to improve the things that you're not good at. Most of us practice, when we say we're going to practice something, we do the bits we enjoy and leave out the bits we don't. When I practice tennis, I practice forehand and backhand. I can't serve for toffee, so I say we won't do serving today, we'll just practice. Oh, that was a good practice. It's exactly the opposite with the professional tennis player. If your serve's off one day, you're back on the court for 3 hours till it becomes automatic again, till you're making it. That's the stage at which people say he's a natural. Look how he does that. Well, this is constant practice of a kind that you are deliberately trying to improve your performance. So I think that's what's being got at here, and it includes quite a bit of failure, because people practice the things they haven't quite mastered. In sport they talk about the 50-50 sweet spot, which is where 50% of the time you'll do it, 50% you won't. That's a crucial kind of learning thing, because you can improve your success rate, and then it becomes much more automatic. So that's where the deliberate practice, the setting out to improve, and it's quite difficult, quite painful, and quite mentally draining if you're doing it properly.
So in your book you talk about this idea of an expert learner. Can you just explain a little bit what you mean by that phrase?
Yeah, I think that I picked this up not from education, but from reading Malcolm Gladwell, for example, and some other books in this area about what's it like to be a top performer. What did top performers in sport, in music, in art, in business, what have they done that you'd say, oh, they're a real expert at this? What's gone into making them an expert? And I was surprised to find there's huge amounts of literature on this that coming through the educational route I'd never come across. There's a guy called Anders Ericsson in the States who's been doing this for 30 years of looking at what makes people get to the top of their field. The best example is and they started with this, in fact, how does a chess grandmaster do things differently to a novice chess player or a good chess player? And they examined what went on there, what goes into a grandmaster. And one of the interesting things there about the expert learner that way is that they've got a much more flexible and stronger mental framework to make sense of stuff. So my example from chess would be a grandmaster can look at a 21-piece chess game and remember it in 15 seconds. You can take it away and he will remember where every piece is, or she will remember where every piece is, and we'll be able to remember it this afternoon as well. If we do it as a novice, we probably remember 3, 4, 5 pieces. And if you've never played chess, you're really struggling with 1 or 2 pieces, because you have to make up stories about what are these pieces. So that whole notion of how an expert sees the bigger picture quicker and better, and so can make use of new information coming in, can sort of absorb it and make sense of it much more quickly than when we're a novice. Everything's new when you're a novice because you can't organise it. So I was interested in that side particularly, and the deliberate practice. And what I was trying to do then is to say, well, what are the implications for the classroom? Because there's some good books about experts in business, experts in medicine. Nobody in this tradition does experts in education. What's an expert teacher? So I've tried to look at that, and I've tried to say, and what do we need to do if we want our kids to become expert learners? I'm not thinking of turning out lots of Mozarts and Beckhams, could do with a few, particularly at the moment. But I'm thinking just kids who are effective learners, who pick up things, as you were talking about earlier. Some kids pick up things quickly. My reading of that would be, that's often because they understand the big picture. They know the game. They can see what's happening here, so they can make sense of things a lot more quickly than a kid who has no idea why we're doing this topic, what the relevance is. It's very hard to remember anything or learn anything if you haven't got that kind of mental framework. So that's my interest in that.